So Spencer Mason via Facebook has said, if you're starting out as a solo artist, what's the best way to get gigs?
Okay, so starting as a solo artist is the same thing. So when it comes, again, we talk about this quite a lot, it's all about building the audience, but there are a few things, because different cities, different venues have different ways of actually finding the acts that they want. So firstly, obviously, they're going to want to know, can you bring some people down, of which you're going to say yes, because you're going to bring your friends. I actually think that for a lot of promoters, the first couple of gigs are actually a very exciting time for a band. And I think there are a lot of promoters who actually get quite excited about brand spanking new bands, because if you think about it, once you've been going for a little while as a band or as an artist, and you've invited your friends and they've come down to 3 or 4 gigs, then you're in the hard work period, aren't you?
Yeah.
Then it's like, my friends don't want to come and see us play anymore because they've seen us 3 times this month, and it becomes harder to get people down. And there's that little window of opportunity where there's a bit of a buzz of, we're going to do the first gig. Everybody wants to come down and see that first 2 or 3 gigs and see who you are and how it works. So I think promoters are really like,
very true.
Yeah, I think they're excited by that.
Come down first few gigs.
First gig is always massive, isn't it? So yeah, it's very exciting. So it's a window, it's an opportunity. So don't let that put you off for a start. Now, when it comes to contacting promoters, I think nowadays with the industry, a lot of promoters actually work for the venues, or a lot of venues do their own promoting. So if you've got a certain venue, then I'd go straight to the venue and I'd say, this is me, this is who I am, here's our socials, who's the best person to contact? And a lot of the time it will be someone in-house. And then what I would do is I'd say, look, I am a new artist, I get that, but give me a chance, because again, if promoters or if venues are thinking, oh, your first gig, I'm not sure about it, even though I think they will be, I think that the way to do it is to say, look, if you barter with them, if you can put us on this venue, on this gig, and slot us in with a 10-minute slot or a 15-minute slot, and I'll guarantee to bring 10 people. Now, if you can bring even 5 people, but if you're bringing 5 or 10 paid people at 3 to 5 quid each, you're still looking at an extra 15, 20 quid for the promoter, and drinks on top of that, which is going to be another 20 or 30 quid. So you're still going to bring an extra 50 plus quid just for you playing, which is a bonus for any promoter on any night, for the sake of 10 to 15 minutes of how you perform. So it's about the leverage and where you fit in. And the leverage comes from you actually finding the right venue with the right, for your style, with the right size. I think that's really, really crucial. And what new artists do is they start looking around at all the venues and going, oh, O2 Academy, or we'll try in Brighton, there's the Concord, it holds 500 people. I think, depending on what music you're in, I think you need to go and find other artists and venues and say, look, this is the type of style I do. I can bring 10 people. If you can't bring 10 people, I'd hold off doing gigs until you've got enough buzz around you, around your social media, to be able to bring that amount of people. You should be able to bring 10 mates and friends and family. At that point, you have got something to barter with, because you're definitely going to bring in 50 quid for a night, which at the moment with the state of venues is important, because every penny counts. Venues are struggling because of the amount of outgoings it costs. Not as many people are coming down to see bands, hence why ticket prices tend to go up. And so therefore an extra 10 people can make all of the difference. So if you've got three bands or artists playing, and you say, look, we'll just literally nip on, we'll just start 10 minutes earlier or 15 minutes earlier, we'll go and do 3 songs. You'll find that the other bands will be up for it if you're going to bring 10 people, the promoter's up for it because you're going to bring people, the venue's up for it. So it's just, everyone's a winner. So you can go in and barter with those people. But I think the main thing is you need to get everything in order. What are you going to show people? Because they want to see your socials, they want to see your Facebook, it's just proof. But just the main thing with this question is, don't underestimate the power of your first gig, because you can bring a decent amount of people, and it gets harder, weirdly enough, after you've done 10 gigs, because people have started to see you and want to give it a bit of time before they see you again.
Do you think it's different for solo artists to bands? Because when I was playing solo, I found that the venues sometimes were a little bit different than I would be playing. Not in a bad way.
Yeah, I would, and it all depends.
Styles.
You know, it does depend on if it's going to be a backing track, if it's going to be you with the guitar, you with the piano, how much hassle it is to set up. I remember setting up gigs, and all of a sudden someone would say, oh, I'm a solo artist with a piano, and the first thing I thought was, oh, that's a pain in the ass. I've got to get a piano, I've got to set it up, I've got to sound check it, I've got to get you off, all for the sake of one act.
Yeah.
it might be that you're going and finding other artists very similar to you, and you're actually saying, take a chance on me.
Yeah.
And so that way you're actually going to the other artists instead of the venues. But it's, this is just networking for me. This is a case of just networking and leverage and bartering. And, and actually, here's another thing. If you need to pay your way on. I know that as soon as I said that, a lot of people watching are going, ugh, pay. But if you get the momentum, you can get gigs. So for example, I want to do keynotes. And so I've got a bunch of keynotes coming up. I'm off to Boston in a couple of weeks' time. We've got one in Canada coming up, in Edinburgh. There's a few which I've just said, look, I'll just come and do it. I'll just pay for myself and I'll come and do it. I'm coming to Manchester on the 24th. I'll just come and do that. I'll pay for it because I know that it's paying forwards. So it's not like I'm saying pay to play. What I'm doing is I'm saying, no, wait a minute. Let me just pay and get the momentum, and then once the momentum's there and people believe and trust in me, at that point, then I can go in and say, look, you know what we can do.
Yeah.
And if you want that, you have to pay this much money.
Sort of like an investment.
Absolutely, yeah. People are always banging on about money, and it's like, you should never pay to play. It's like, well, you've got to get some momentum first. So, you either start so tiny small in someone's living room and start promoting yourself, or you just say, look, we'll come, we'll play, we'll pay for ourselves, we'll get 10 mates in, we'll find a way of doing that. If we have to sell the tickets and ourselves, we'll do that. It's just getting that momentum to start with. But don't underestimate the power of your first gig, because you can bring a lot of people, because everyone will be excited to see what this new thing is.
Yeah.